Good afternoon. It is about the I don't know, 10th or so of November. What is it? The 9th. And it's 75 degrees and sunny. Just absolutely splendid, beautiful. And it's time to do some pruning. And so I thought I would spend a couple minutes explaining what I do from time to time with my in-ground trees. And we're taking off the nets. Guess we're not going to have any more attacks from the birds. Not this season. There's nothing left to attack. This tree is my XL, which is 27 years old, and it's been there. I've cut it back, even the stump, many times, and it's been here a long time. And you'll see this tree if you want to look at it when it was in its splendor not very long ago in Oldies But Goodies, if you want to look up that video, when this tree was just over top of the porch up there and just beautiful and loaded with figs, delicious figs. But you know, as I'm growing older, I have to be practical in my approach, and I do stress, you know, that theme over and over again to you, because I know after years of experience that practicality is a very useful tool in your toolkit when it comes to growing figs or growing anything in the yard. It gets to a point where you just got to do the right thing, and sometimes the right thing is a painful thing. And so I had to take this tree down, as you can see, all the way to here. And yesterday I did that, and I'm going to do another one in a second and demonstrate some pruning techniques here that you just sometimes have to do unless you want to have runaway fig trees that just keep growing and growing. I've had these trees 25 feet tall before here in this location, and for many years I've had it that way, and I've picked thousands and thousands of figs. But it's a lot of work when you have a big fig tree that's really tall, and you got to get on a ladder to get the figs, and then the birds are competing for them. And you know, after a while you realize that after a couple of years of growing, you've got to take them back down harshly. You have to prune them really hard, like this. I mean, really hard. And so I've done that. And now this tree won't produce many breba at all, maybe on a couple little branches that I leave. And the reason why I'm leaving these couple little branches here is for one reason. In the spring, these will leaf out and will supply energy to the rest of the tree. And you want to have some leaves to absorb the rays of the sun and to create the photosynthesis, to continue the photosynthesis process, or else you're going to have a dead tree on your hands after you prune it so severely. So always leave some branches so that you get some leaves to absorb the sun and the energy and to complete the photosynthesis process. You need to do that. You need to remember to do that. If you're going to cut your trees down very harshly like this, you need to remember to do that. Now this tree, which is a hardy Chicago, is going to be cut back too. I'm going to leave a few branches, maybe one or two like this, and take the rest all the way down, because it's just too much to take care of. But it produces a lot of figs. This tree produces an abundance of figs. All of your Mount Etna types, your hardy Chicago types, are a wonderful variety to have, as you know. And as I've said before many times, in 7A and in both of my locations, and they've been highly productive for many years. But you've got to keep after them. You've got to cut them back. You've got to prune them. That's what you got to do. That's part of the responsibility of being a figster. Okay, and so it will still produce a great abundance of figs, and like this one will, because no breba on this, very few breba, but plenty of main crop figs, because this will sprout out branches like crazy and they'll grow like wildfire. And this one, of course, I'll leave more branches, so I'll get some breba and I'll get plenty of main crop figs, because I'm going to leave a few branches, a few trees, a few branches like this that will be highly productive both in breba and in main crop figs. So now we take a little walk, and I'm going to show you another one of my trees that needs severe pruning. take a little walk here, and I'll get Debbie to assist me since I have one hand on the phone. But this is my Peter's honey, and I've already begun to prune it, and I threw away a lot of branches last night, okay, and I've got a lot more to do, and I've decided to take this beauty down pretty radically, and I've done this many times. Yeah, Debbie has her doubts. She always does. She loves her fig tree. She particularly likes Peter's honey. It's one of her favorite figs, and one of mine. But what happens is when this tree, and I cut a lot of these branches last night, when this tree starts to grow up against the building here, the raccoons start to go up on the roof and they get mischievous. You know, one time we had them actually dig through the roof one time, and I had to repair that. Another time, well, I won't go into the details, but it's pretty interesting, I can tell you. But aside from that, even, you know, it's just the same story I just told you, you know, where you just got to keep a tree under wraps. You've got to cut it back, or else it will just tower over the building. It'll just get larger and larger, and what are you going to do? You know, get a ladder out, fight the birds. It just isn't, you know, it's not practical anymore. And if anything, you need to keep your hobby practical, and that includes the selection of varieties. And we've talked about that on many of my videos, if you want to review some of them, because I really do believe that it's a lot has to do, if you want to be successful, a lot has to do with variety selection, and some of the age-old varieties that have been time proven, they should not be neglected. They should not be neglected, like Lateral Italian honey fig, like the Mount Etnas that we talked about. And in my videos, I go into great detail about that. Yeah, certainly Celeste. So here we are. All right.
What are you taking off? It looks like you took off quite a
Well, I'm going to take off a lot more. I'm going to take, you know, just pull that down, and I'll
This
just.
one looks like you already took it off.
Yeah,
Oh,
I took some of that. But I'm going to take more of that. You can pull it back if you want to. Yeah. Painful, but it's something that's necessary. I'll take this big branch, keep the raccoons off the house, and don't worry, this tree will produce an enormous abundance of main crop figs next year. Hundreds and hundreds. It's just something that you have to do. So I don't like doing it. It hurts me. It took me years to really, I don't know, get used to the idea and adjust to cutting away a large tree like this. But remember, this isn't every year. It's every couple of years. And I've got a lot of trees. And I've got
quite
yeah.
a bit.
This will grow, and I'm not exaggerating. This will grow 8 or 9 feet next year. It will grow up to the top of the house again. It will, and it will produce figs all the way up, like this variety characteristically does. It just produces figs all the way from yeah, some of them might, but I'm going to take them down. Let's see. Let's do this one now.
We're at.
All right. Just take it off right there. Yeah, beautiful. And this one here. Yeah, if you can just grab this. Here, keep it from shaking right there. There we go. It wants to shake. Maybe you can grab it right there.
I don't know about that.
You don't trust me? Come on, you get that. I never took your hand off before. Come on.
There we go.
There, see? No big deal. And then there's this big one here. Let's get this one. Well, we'll take these two off first. There, take that one.
Which one?
I don't know. I like
looks like it's
I might.
right here,
I might actually cut these. Oh, okay. I started that one yesterday. All right. I'm gonna take that down a little bit more. Pull this one down. There we go. Well, you get the idea. You get the general idea. It's just something that you need to do once in a while when you have in-ground fig trees that are this vigorous. And I just thought I'd make a short video to demonstrate how I do that. You know, I'm not a big advocate of pruning figs. I noticed that some people are, and I certainly don't believe in cutting them back down really short. I believe in protecting them in 7A or wherever you need to cover them. I believe in that, and I've talked about that many times in my videos. This is a drastic measure that I only take occasionally because I actually have to. I have no choice. And remember, I have a lot of trees in the ground, a lot of trees all over the place. So I can afford to do this. It's sort of like an alternating kind of effect, you know, where I do some fig trees this year. Maybe I'll do a couple next year, you know, and I keep doing it that way so that I always have trees in full production. Because it's not a great thing to do this, but it's just something that you need to do every couple of years. And you'll find out that it's a lot easier for you to manage your orchard if you do so. So, with that, thank you for the visit. I appreciate your visit. Always enjoy them. I've got a lot of work still cut out for me today. So, with that, let's take a little walk over this way. The weather's bringing out my neighbor, and he's enjoying himself listening to music over there. Don't blame him. Here's another tree that's going to be pruned. Now, as far as pruning, let me just add this. A lot of these little branches that aren't really good for bearing fruit, I take them off. So I'm going to thin this tree out. I'm not going to cut this down radically because this is a San Pedro type, which produces figs next year on last year's wood. This wood. This wood is going to produce breva. You can see them. Look very closely. And you can see the breva there. I don't know if it's in focus because I can't tell with the glare. But you should be able to pick up some of the breva. It's loaded with breva. You saw this fig tree in other videos of mine. Okay? And Debbie made fig cake and fig bread from all of the figs, hundreds of figs, hundreds. Okay, so I'm not going to take these branches down because this tree is not too big. I can still reach it without a ladder, and it's going to make an abundance of breva, first crop figs on last year's wood, and they're here right now already, and they're going to overwinter here. Okay, and then I'm going to enjoy them. Nice big, wonderful Desert King. I say Dessert King, that's how it's really supposed to be pronounced, really. That's how it was originally when it made a sensation back in California decades and decades ago. And it is a Dessert King. It's a wonderful, wonderful tasting fig. It has many, many good qualities. I love this variety. I've talked about it many times. If you can get this to grow in ground like this, you've got a gem. So I will not be cutting this back radically like I did the other trees, which primarily produce a very, very large main crop. And this one does produce a main crop, but they will not come to fruition because they need caprification. And we've talked about that in other videos. So what I will do is go in here and I will cut away a lot of these little branches back inside, down inside, because you know, you want your tree to get plenty of air, you want it to get plenty of sun exposure, and you want to divert that energy that would be wasted in some of these little branches that aren't going to produce. You want that energy to be diverted into your crop so that your figs are larger, more tasty, and certainly of higher quality. Okay, now it's time for me to get back to work. The fun's over. Taking the video is fun. The work, not so much. But I'll have it done soon enough. Thank you for your visit. Good day.